let's get started. I don't want to take up too much time, but please let me know if you guys have any questions. So, event was just to talk about understanding inflammation and the role that it plays in lipedema. Anybody in this group basically here for lipedema and some insulin resistant stuff. I'm here to support women with lipedema. Thank you for joining. I'm Cindy. For any of you that don't know me or are listening to this somewhere else, I'm Cindy. I'm a registered nurse that has gone for certification for health coach. I am no longer practicing as a registered nurse in the field, but have many years of experience working with patients. I was diagnosed a little over a year ago with lipedema. My passion has always been to help people, but has changed the trajectory of what I want to do and who I want to help. Because I don't want other women having to go through, I don't want to say I'm embarrassed, but over 40 years of dealing with this disease and not knowing what it was, knowing that there was something wrong, blaming myself for it. Most of you already know what this is, but you might not realize that 18% of the population of women have lipedema. It's a connective tissue disorder, which causes painful fat accumulation, and it does a lot of other things. Painful fat, very heaviness, swelling, just walking around can be super painful. So those are just kind of a gist, but we will get into in this. I'm going to commit to once a week doing a informational session. So that way you guys can ask questions. You might have different symptoms. You might have symptoms that I have. Not everybody has the same symptoms, but you might have different things that you have learned along the way and or just might have questions about it. There's a ton of conservative measures out there, and I'm learning more about conservative measures every day, different things that people are trying just to relieve their symptoms. Those will be other discussions, but please, if you have questions about any of that, leave it in the Facebook Live and I will get back to you because I'm not able to read. I thought maybe I'd be able to do it, but I'm not able to read if there's comments, questions, or any of that, why I am actually trying to relay this information to you. So that's pretty much my story. I just don't want women to have to spend, gosh, 10, 20, 30, 40 years before they figure out that this is actually a chronic disease that is progressive. Let's reach out and ask questions and help other people out there. I first noticed this, I want to say it was over a year ago. I happened to be watching somebody on social media talk about her legs and how they look and how they felt. I was like, oh my gosh, I definitely have this. It was an eye opener and a wake up for me that there was something really wrong and that I needed to research and figure out what it was. So that's why I'm here to help you guys. If there's anything I can do, answer questions, steer you in the right way, provide some resources, then I will be more than happy to help. So today I want to talk about what is inflammation and how inflammation affects lipedema, because inflammation, I didn't really get, I, I shouldn't say I didn't get, but I didn't understand how inflammation affected my lipedema. You can also have lymphedema as well. But my lipedema, let's just kind of go back. Me being a nurse, I knew what inflammation was, but I guess I didn't really take into account how chronic inflammation really affects your body. My primary focus over the last 10 years was working with hospice patients. I never dealt with inflammation and how that affects you. So there's two types of inflammation. There's acute and chronic. So acute is short term. that is something we want. We need acute, quick, short inflammation to happen. You get a cut, a bruise, a burn, and you have an acute response. When the inflammation happens, we want it to happen because that is our body's response to something that's hurting us. The other one is chronic. So it's long-term inflammation that is damaging cells. It's damaging the tissue over a longer period of time. Um, Over longer periods of time, it continues to damage your tissue. Um, so that's where lipedema comes into effect with this. And there's lots of other long-term inflammation in the body, but I really just want to talk about how it affects lipedema. So the chronic inflammation often lipedema symptoms from pain, swelling, and tenderness, and many more, but those are the main ones on how inflammation actually affects your lipedema. There's many things that cause that, but let's get into why it really matters with lipedema. The swelling, it can cause fatigue, it can cause discomfort. It also can contribute to the fat storage, tissue fibrosis. So this overall just really reduces the overall quality of life, things that you can do. It's impacting your mobility, your energy levels. So this really leads people to feel overwhelmed and defeated because it has been misdiagnosed for so long. I'm in groups where women in their 60s, 70s are just finding out they have this disease and are trying to figure out where it came from, how it started, how can I relieve some of my symptoms. Inflammation is one of the biggest hurdles to get over with alleviating your symptoms. Common triggers of inflammation are diet, lifestyle, and environmental factors. With my coaching business, I really work on diet with clients to have them understand all the different things that you are putting in your body is going to affect the inflammation and therefore affect your lipedema. So I'll give you some examples. And then over the next few weeks, if you guys want me to go into specifics about diet, lifestyle, those kind of things, I'm going to do separate videos on those to hone in on a specific topic. This is more about inflammation and how it affects lipedema, but the common triggers of inflammation in your body are the diet, lifestyle, and environmental factors. So diet is an example are processed foods, refined sugars, trans fats, and artificial additives. So diet is a huge one. It doesn't have to be restrictive. I think that people just need to get their mind around what things are good. I don't want to say they're bad, but just eliminating and reworking your diet, which is also your lifestyle. I don't want to call it a diet. People typically think a diet is, oh, I need to go on this diet for a short time frame. It's really changing your mindset around how you're eating and what you're eating, which is why women come to work with me. It's revamping how they think about the situation and what they're eating, and then teaching them why processed foods, refined sugar, trans fat, not all fats, because fats are actually really good for you, can affect your body. The second thing is lifestyle. Lifestyle definitely affects your inflammation, affects your lipedema from chronic stress, poor sleep, lack of movement. And not that everybody does this, but another example would be smoking, drinking. It's all lifestyle choices. But once again, this is another thing that I work on with people is working on a plan on how to fix these things because you can be eating the most healthy, clean way, but not seeing a lot of difference if you have chronic stress, if you have poor sleep. I do think that a lot of people don't understand that. It is a whole picture of fixing what is causing the inflammation within inside our body, the chronic inflammation. We want acute once again. And then the third thing that is super important is environmental factors. So exposure to toxin and allergens. There's so many things just don't know. If you don't know, you don't know. This year really honed in on changing my environmental factors, my exposure to toxins. So we replaced all of our pan to non-toxic, non-Teflon, removing the different chemicals that get released into your foods. I replaced all of my baking sheets, cooking pans, simple things like a waffle maker. I replaced a skillet. I replaced plastic, not using plastics, meaning there's microplastics. That's the other exposure to toxins is getting rid of plastics that you heat up, cut on cutting boards. We literally vamped out all of that stuff. There's only so much you can do. That was a toxin that I didn't even realize that what could be having such an effect on things. We are still working on replacing things and eliminating toxins where we can. Just removing certain things can totally help with pain. For me, my pain is big in my legs, all the way down to my ankle. And it has, over the last year, with me going through menopause, that has had it spread for me to my abdominal area. And it has also spread for me to my arms. This has really leaned me into really getting serious about my diet. But now I really wanted to get serious about removing toxin. So practical tips that you can use to remove inflammation naturally. This will be a quick overview of these. I'm going to make individual videos on all of this because it is something that's super important to help reduce body inflammation. Nutrition is the number one thing. Just removing all of those things I talked about before. I really stress on working with my client on a primal diet. We start there, getting people off of the SAD, which is the standard American diet, and over to a more natural primal approach. Not everybody is this specific thing, eat this, don't eat this. That doesn't work for everybody, but eliminating processed foods, refined sugars, trans fats, artificial stuff, that is a start for everybody. I work individually with clients, helping them learn what is good for them. So that is super important. So let's move on to number two. Number two is gentle movement. Exercise is important, but there's all kinds of exercise. Examples of stuff that work for lipedema with the pain that women have is, I know it's harder in the winter months. I live in South Carolina and I have a pool outside, but I can't get in it, obviously. So swimming is a great exercise. Low impact, walking, yoga, Pilates, and two other things that I do daily. I use my vibration plate and rebound. I will do a whole section on gentle movement, the types of gentle movement, how to use them, when to use them. And then really important is to try to stretch as well. Stretching those tight ligaments that are holding the painful fat, super important. Number three, so stress reduction. I know this is hard for everybody in this crazy, fast, hectic world that we live in, but why is it important? Chronic stress increases cortisol, which can trigger inflammation. There's a bunch of research on stress reduction. This is another thing I work with clients on. A couple techniques that I can give you. And this is, like I said, I'll go into another whole series on stress reduction, but deep breathing, meditation, journaling, spending time outside in nature. Those are all things that really help reduce your stress when you're having stress. Let's work through which ones work for you. Some people don't like meditation. Some people don't like journaling, deep breathing. Deep breathing's always a great one, but just spending some time learning what those are and how to do them. Another practice that I think is super important that gets overlooked a lot. I never realized as a mom, a nurse, a grandma, how self-care practices are super important for your own wellness. A couple of things that I do related to lipedema is lymphatic drainage. I go to a PT and they can do lymphatic drainage there. You really want to make sure that you're using a massage therapist that is trained in lymphatic drainage, and even more important with lipedema, because it's not the same. Um, and compression garments. I know nobody wants to wear compression garments, including myself, because they're hard to put on. There's so many different kinds. They're not comfortable, but wearing compression garments really help to manage swelling, which is super important because inflammation causes swelling, which again causes pain. So back to lipedema, there's many self-care practices you can do for self-care, but I'm just trying to teach the importance of what it is for lipedema. Those are the main things I wanted to cover today, just to give an overview of what inflammation is, how it can affect your lipedema, and then leave it open for you guys to ask questions. Feel free, if you were able to get on the video, is to rewatch it and then also ask questions. I created a chat group, I should say group. From this group, I created a messenger chat. It's a great place for you to ask questions and get involved with what other people are asking. If you want me to talk about a specific topic related to lipedema, just put all of that either in the video comments or send messages. I would be more than happy to give my experience. I have been in contact with a lot of other women who have had surgery. I have gone for a consultation and am planning on lipedema removal surgery. So that can be a whole nother discussion for us. So just to recap real quick, we talked about what inflammation is, how inflammation affects your lipedema, ways for managing it, the different types of management from nutrition, gentle movement, stress reduction, and also self-care, and the common triggers, which were diet, lifestyle, and environmental. Um, so in that being said, I just want to thank you guys so much for taking the time. And if you're still here watching at 30 minutes, I'm so blessed that you're still here. The one thing that I want to just touch with before I leave this information session is the things that I just covered with you. I really invite you guys to give me your takeaways, a new anti-inflammatory habit that you're going to start this week. Some resources that I could give for you is in February. I haven't come up with the date, but it's probably going to be the third week of February. I will let you guys know is I'm going to run my group challenge again. It's not really a challenge, it's a reset. So we've all come through the holidays. Our inflammation is probably super high with all of the treat and things we did through the holidays. It's the beginning of the year. I know we all want to try to get back and improve the inflammation. So I am going to do the 21-day reset for lipedema relief again. And basically, it's a 21-day, it's a challenge, but not a challenge. I don't like the word challenge. So it's a reset. And what you get is for the 3 weeks, you get one live Q&A call with me at the end of the week. Weekly and daily, you will get either an email or a task. You belong to a platform where I run my business, but you belong to this platform. It has a group in it as well. So you can communicate with the other people that are doing the reset at the same time. But daily, you get a lesson about how to um, hone in on your triggers and your diet and how to improve the inflammation. So that's a reset that I'm doing in February. Typically, I hate talking about price, so I'm not going to do that here. Normally, I run a special for it every single time. I will let you guys know about that if you have a question. I also have my website that you guys can go to. It's just withcindyhowell.com. I have blog posts, a ton of information on there and resources for lipedema. I also have my one-on-one coaching. And all of that information is on my website. If there's anything that you have questions about, just jump over to the website. I will post some of the links for you guys to get that information. I just want to thank you guys again for taking the time to hang out and look forward to sharing more tips and support. You guys have a great day.